Greetings! In the name of Lisa and Dambella, all that is good and great, all that is blessed and beautiful, all that is creative and conscious, and all that is positive and possible. May the warm sun rays greet you each and every morning, and may your day always be full of joy. Hotep, I am Adisola Biobancoli, your host to Mind Vibes, Thoughts from a Curious Mind, a bi-monthly podcast series exploring and examining social phenomena then and now. Now, in this piece, this episode of Mind Vibes, I want to take a stab at something that I saw in one of the papers in Florida dealing with the extinction of the buffalo. And I entitled this, Rape of the Natural World, Man's Foolish and Selfish Behavior to and Towards Nature. Now, before we go, and before we start dealing with this expose, leave a comment, share, like, and subscribe. Now again, rape of the natural world, man's foolish and selfish behavior towards nature. Quote unquote, we could have saved the earth, but we were too damn cheap. Kurt Vonnegut. Now, this is a quote that stood out to me in this piece in the paper that I was reading. Quote unquote, sometimes we have withheld our power to destroy and have left a threatened species like the buffalo, a threatened beauty spot like Yosemite or Yellowstone scrupulously alone. We are the most dangerous species of life on the planet, and every other species, even the earth itself, has cause to fear our power to exterminate. But we are also the only species which, when it chooses to do so, will go to great effort to save what it might destroy. Right? Seems, a little contradictory there, but it's true. No truer words have ever been spoken than by this writer, Wallace Stegner, who is dealing with the resurgence of the almost extinct buffalo that man and his foolish behavior, particularly that out of the white communities, nearly made extinct before the 21st century. However, thanks to many informed and well-meaning groups came to the buffalo's rescue, and now they are beginning to repopulate places like Yellowstone and Yosemite. But this is not a piece about the returning of the buffalo, which Ken Burns, great documentary filmmaker who did both the Civil War and the conflict in Vietnam, is now doing to show the devastation that man, particularly European, who are moving west in this country, cruelly almost made a species extinct. No. This piece deals with the myopic view of patriarchy and its ever quest for so-called, quote-unquote, progress. Though we all should always be seeking to move forward with innovations, technological advancements, and a spirit of progress. But we must also consider the pitfalls of our ambition to create a quote-unquote better world for ourselves and for other species. Now, in the film Jurassic Park, Malcolm, a scientist, tries to warn the creator of the park when he says, quote unquote, what's so great about discovery? It's a violent, penetrative act that scars what it explores. What you call discovery, I call the rape of the natural world. Now, Both these quotes and or statements about man's sometimes inability to work alongside nature to appreciate its gifts or his reckless behavior to and against nature demonstrates that man does not see the forest for the trees. Instead, rushes headlong to cut down all the trees despite the fact of the trees' value to our ecosystem. The indigenous people, both in America and Africa, had a deep relationship with nature itself because they saw nature as not only an extension of themselves, but as a living force ordained by their own particular deities. In the film with Kevin Costner dancing with wolves, Kevin's character, Lieutenant Dunbar, is with the indigenous people as they go and hunt the buffalo. They see huge herds of them. They kill 4 to 5 buffaloes, bring the dead animals back to camp, where they proceeded to use every part of the buffalo. But before doing so, they ask permission of their deities. Now, in the same film, a couple of days later, Lieutenant Dunbar with a few indigenous people go out and see hundreds of buffaloes lying on the field, shot and left there to rot. It was whites who came there to hunt. Much like the doctor who hunted one of the oldest lions, Cecil, or Don Trump Jr. and his brother Eric standing next to an elephant they had just shot, or the heartless woman deeming that it is okay to shoot giraffes simply because they are, according to her, dangerous. Right? But you in their territory, and you had no idea whether it was mating season or what, but you in their territory. You're gonna be shooting stuff, and the doctor who I was so glad when they plastered his face all over the internet. Yeah, they said, yeah, he did it. He did it. And many of them were saying a lot of the African peoples in the villages, they're always glad and stuff. No, yeah, the lion will come in and stuff, but they knew how to deal with those lions, But you're gonna blame them for your hubris in killing a giraffe or whatever, simply because you think it's the best thing. That's ridiculous, In 1970 would be the first year that Earth Day would get its start. April 22nd is now officially Earth Day. And this came about because of many environmentalists and sympathizers who were determined to preserve and conserve what gift we have. Much like what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a young congresswoman out of the Bronx, is trying to do with her Green New Deal legislation. Those who are the youth today are trying to save off the irreparable damage that as human beings we have placed on this, our Mother Earth. This need for dominance, for control over all things seems, at least to me, be out of the European mindset. The idea, as Professor Jeffries once coined, the 3Ds, death, destruction, and domination. The insatiable need for dominion over everything, even of life itself. This thirst for progression, even at the behest of nature itself. When I have some conversations with my queen, and I talk about how, European, the Caucasoid has this thing with immortality. So that they create movies, create these whole vampire werewolves and mummies and Frankenstein, because this sense of having to control life. I'm gonna have to do a podcast on that. The in search of immortality, the need to control life, or something like that. Excuse me again. Today, one doesn't see many flies or other insects. Our ocean temperatures is rising. The rainforest, which is one of the biggest oxygen producing ecosystem, is being systematically destroyed. Even rivers and lakes are evaporating because of climate change that is not for the better. Many films have and are being made about the destruction of our planet via man's hubris, his unflinching denial of his part that may very well be the end of us. Oh, you just don't want to see it. And you got many of these Congress people. I'm gonna get into that later on, but many of these Congress people who you got this a-hole out of West Virginia. Oh, we got to continue using the coal. Even though the coal was spewing up all of this smoke, that is causing devastation, even in his own state. You know, holding on his pricky licky. We got to do this. Oh, not wanting to see what people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bowman and all of them and the youth are seeing. We got to stop the greenhouse effect. In the film Star Trek Voyage Home, there is an entity that is targeting the Earth's oceans, evaporating with the ability to cut off all technology, rendering them useless. Spock surmises that the entity's songs is that of the humpback whale. The problem is that humans had hunted the whales to extinction. Therefore, there are no longer humpback whales to answer this particular entity. This was almost the case with the wolves that were hunted to almost extinction based on outlandish stories of wolves attacking humans, when the facts and truth is far different. As stated above, man's capacity for destruction is formidable. Like no other species, however, man can correct himself, such as with President Teddy Roosevelt, who was a great proponent of hunting buffalo and not worry too much about the environment until he was convinced otherwise. Or as Mahatma Gandhi would say in the film Gandhi, quote unquote, until you yourself see the wisdom. Of course, in the film, he was dealing with the British leaving India. Here, I'm dealing with Roosevelt's change of heart, who eventually became the consequential environmentalist president of the early 20th century. Now again, I'm dealing with the film Jurassic Park, as Malcolm in the film Jurassic Park iterates that the rape of the natural world can be brutal, and one that his colleagues argues that the builders of that park has plant life that is from a different period, a different age. But they were chosen because they look good. Yet, they will fight back. Further, Malcolm again suggests that to try and control nature or manipulate it to fit your desires often turns out badly. And we are seeing that now. As I have stated with the water temperatures, we are seeing long and more violent hurricanes, stronger tornadoes, longer and frigid winters, and volcanoes and earthquakes where normally there is no activity of this nature. The youth has every right to be alarmed, but it seems the elders aren't listening or don't give a damn because they are too occupied at brinksmanship, the need to deny the other party the ability to be, ironically, progressive with their proposals at how to slow down this coming climate avalanche. Yet it is this hubris that Spock points out of man's unwillingness to listen to the winds of change. And unlike the indigenous people from both Africa and America, their arrogance will create the dynamics where Earth will finally give way to man's stupidity. Yet, let us hope we can save off this disaster with the potential to change course when need be. That is one of the gifts bequeathed to us as foresight. Let us hope we have the wisdom to use it. We have the ability to project. We may not be, fortune tellers and we see into the future. No. But based on what we see in the past and what we see now, we are able to project the possibility of what could be. If you see the Florida coast is being eroded because the water rising, you can see that. There's no, this is all in the fog and no, you can see it. So you need to then now begin to deal with it. But because you are so stupid and so, vulgar capitalistic, you just, it's like Kurt Vonnegut said, you're too damn cheap. And paying, billions of dollars to fix something or to try to shore up something is better than, it being eroded into the waters or it being covered or the earth being decimated by fires, that you could at least do something. But again, you're too busy arguing with each other about petty stuff, about, we can't spend the money. I'm like, what? Okay, fine. Rape of the natural world. Your stupidity and hubris may set this course of action or inaction to the point where there is no returning. And all the movies that you have made will come to fruition. And if that is what you wish, because you're too stingy or you're too stubborn or you're too selfish that you don't want to deal with your children's earth, then you will be finding another earth. But it may not be, as Bill Maher says, let's stop trying to plant ourselves on Mars. Let's try to fix the earth we have here. And if we can do that, we will be able to use the foresight, that gift that we are given. Let us hope, like I said, that we can do that. But in the meantime, may we all strive to bend the arc of justice towards humanity and believe that peace and love can be achieved. Matasi P.